It says one of Heath's memorable suggestions was, oh, Salaki, I read that part. According to Heath, and he read it after we refined our. Eventually, of course, we developed a pacemaker with its own internal power source to provide the patient with continuous stimulation. That's sick, man. Heath and Monroe demonstrated by implanting electrodes into the brains of their subjects, they could switch on and off a variety of emotional and mental states, including fear, feelings of well-being, sexual sensations, as well as controlling memory and artificial inducing hallucinations. These feelings and thoughts, selectively chosen by those wielding the electric push button, could in Pavlovian fashion be used for reward and punishment. One experiment performed by Heath utilized subjects B19, a young male homosexual. Heath set about treating the man's homosexuality by inserting electrodes into his brain, including in the septum, the cerebral pleasure center. When Heath would activate the electrode, the man would experience something akin to a slow burning orgasm. The man was shown heterosexual pornographic films, while electricity was channeled through the electrodes in an effort to rearrange his pleasure orientations and switch his sexual interest from men to women. Eventually, man was given his own control box, which during one 3-hour period he pushed 1,500 times for self-stimulation. A 20-year-old female prostitute was brought to Tulane University, and the man's brain waves were studied while he engaged in sex with her. What? Bear with me for a second. It says, this is Book of Psalms 36, verse 2. For he flatters himself in his own eyes until his iniquity be found to be hateful. Verse 3, the words of his mouth are iniquity and deceit. He have left off to be wise and to do good. This man is able to basically stimulate. That proving that they can actually change. People don't think that these people, ultimately is the Most High. You know what I mean? All things build to the will of the Most High. But at the same time, that shows you that they, like I heard about a lot of this marijuana that the government, that's why they legalized it. You know what I mean? Because the brain has receptors and marijuana has receptors, and they're growing a lot of this marijuana. I mean, I just was recently in California, and we're in Ohio. Ohio has just opened up some dispensaries. My demon is in California. She was saying, I mean, if you literally look at these people, like basically they put the drug out there to, because at the end of the day, like I was listening to the elder speak on it, best believe the unemployment rate isn't as low as they make it seem. Like it is more jobs than what people make it seem, you know. Because at the end, but it ain't not all that easy either. Because if that was the case, then why is it more homeless people out on the street? Like the brother Tazapaz said, he was like, at the end of the day, he was like, you got people that just like fuck it because they lost hope, so they go out there. They take their last check, get a tent, the necessities, and go out there. But now, you probably went out there and it was just you and maybe another person. But now you got multiple people. Like when I go downtown in the morning, you know what I mean. Like it's still, we get pretty cold in Cleveland, so, but it's still fairly warm. You know what I mean. You can get away with it. You know what I mean, but. Just last year, yeah, you had a few, but now, it's like groups of people sleeping outside. And, I'm not trying to judge because, my lot in this truth was, I was brought very low, you know what I mean? To the point where I was homeless, you know what I mean? But to show you the Most High had to strip all that, the Most High took me out of that, you know what I mean? Call halal Allah Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. Rock a thumb, but it's just, if you think that it's just people don't want to do anything, no, that's bullshit. Usually when people become hopeless, that's when they run to the drugs and the drinking and all that shit. You know what I mean? You know, everybody out there ain't just, oh, I became a crackhead. You know what I mean? Like, you know, some of it's spiritual tests, and some of it is just, come on, like, you don't think in the process of that government shutdown, you had people become homeless? That's how selfish people are in this day and age. I know a woman that helped, actually is part of my testimony, wholeheartedly believe in the Most High God. I know demons are real. I know the left hand side is real because I came to the truth, and now this woman don't believe in Most High God anymore. So just like completely, that's the power of the Lord. You know what I mean? Salakia. I mean, like I said, that just really bust my noodle with. They say they turned this dude. This is a homosexual, but then they fucked with his brain to the point where he having sex with a prostitute, a female prostitute. By 1970s, and this was before 1976. Heath had come up with the cerebral pacemaker designed to electrically stimulate the brain through an array of tiny electrodes inserted at the back of the head and under the skull of under the skull on the cerebellum. Although early versions of the pacemaker included a battery pack that the patient would carry in his or her pocket or on his belt, later versions will be implanted in the patient's abdomen. Heath was far from the only person thinking about using implants for control. In 1956, Curtis Schaefer, working as an electrical engineer for Northern Kite, offered the following prescription at the National Electronics Conference in Chicago. Schaefer said the ultimate achievement of biocontrol may be man himself. The controlled subjects would never be permitted to think as individuals. Wow. A few months after birth, a surgeon would equip each child with a socket mounted under the scalp and electrodes reaching selected areas of brain tissue. It said the ultimate achievement of biocontrol may be man himself. The controlled subjects would never be permitted to think as individuals. A few months after birth, a surgeon would equip each child with a socket mounted under the scalp and electrodes reaching selected areas of brain tissue. And you don't think that the elite are aware of this shit though? Not even the complete detail, but you don't think that they aware of this certain kind of technology? Shit, somebody brought out the Zika virus. They said that, come on, the fucking Rockefellers or Rothschilds or somebody got the patent on it. You know what I mean? Like, man, fucking devil, man. Subject sensory perceptions and muscular activity could be either modified or completely controlled by bioelectric signals radiating from state-controlled transmitters. Intelligence agencies have long been interested in the possibility of direct brain electrical stimulation. A report of the CIA's MK Ultra Sub Project 94, issued in October 1960, said initial biological work on techniques and brain locations essential to provide conditioning and control of animals have been completed. It says intelligence agencies have long been interested in the possibilities of direct brain electrical stimulation. A report on the CIA's MK Ultra Sub Project 94, issued in October 1960, said initial biological work on techniques and brain locations essential to provide conditioning and control of animals have been completed. Now that was in the 60s. The feasibility of remote control of activities in several species of animals have been demonstrated. The present investigations are directed toward improvements of techniques, and I'm not sure where I read this at that goes into more detail about them actually being able to control human beings. I think it was in that book by Stephen Quayle. Now, Stephen Quayle goes off because he believes in Nephilim and giants. And although you got real giant bones that they find and all that, you know, at the end of the day, you know, there's no Nephilim. You know what I mean? You know, that's another lesson for another day. But, you know, that doesn't mean, you know, the Nephilim is not, you know what I mean, that Genesis 6 and 4. And that's what they like to quote. He likes to quote that is not pertaining to, you know, giants. You know what I mean? Although, like I said, men were of bigger stature. You know what I mean? Like if you go into the Serpent Mounds, like it's an area in Ohio. You know, that area they found all these skeletons of, all these different skeleton bones, and I think the least or the smallest was like 7 feet. I think the tallest was like 9. So you know what I mean. So they like to equate that to, oh yeah, that they were giants, and you know what I mean, the Nephilim and all this old goofy shit. I'm gonna skip that. I may stop there. I'm gonna probably do one more video because it's like 3 more pages of information, and brothers like the fact that I read out this book. I've been complimented on it for about a few different brothers because of the fact I know why, because of the information. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of juicy information in here. That's why I tell the names and dates and whatnot. So I'm probably gonna do one last video to make my 4th video to close this out. So I'm gonna stop there and go take a break and come back and resume, Lord willing. So I'm gonna stop here. Shalom.